Moving on to other business news, Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund has struck a landmark deal with 6 top Chinese financial institutions, totaling $50 billion. This major move underscores a broader trend of de-Westernization and marks a notable shift away from traditional Western financial dominance. The agreements are expected to enhance financial and business ties between Saudi Arabia and China.
As the world's geopolitical landscape undergoes a seismic shift, one of the most compelling stories unfolding today is the complex and evolving relationship between the United States, Saudi Arabia, and China. In recent years, the United States has ramped up its pressure on Saudi Arabia to distance itself from China and other BRICS nations. The United States is deeply concerned about the transfer of critical technology, infrastructure, and data to China, fearing it could significantly undermine United States' economic interests and global influence. But Saudi Arabia, long seen as a reliable ally of the United States, is charting a new course. In a surprising and bold move, Saudi Arabia recently signed agreements worth $50 billion with Chinese financial institutions. This step signifies a clear intent to strengthen ties with China, a nation that has risen to become the world's largest economy in terms of GDP purchasing power parity, PPP, surpassing the United States. This shift in economic power dynamics is more than just numbers on a chart, it represents a potential reordering of global alliances. Saudi Arabia's decision is not just about immediate economic benefits. It's part of a broader, visionary strategy known as Vision 2030, where the kingdom aims to diversify its economy away from an over-reliance on oil. As the world's largest oil exporter, Saudi Arabia has traditionally held immense power over global energy markets, ranking among the top 5 oil producers alongside the United States, Russia, Canada, and Iraq. This vast oil production capacity has given the kingdom significant leverage, but the global energy landscape is changing, and so too must Saudi Arabia. Before we dive deeper into how these changes are affecting global dynamics, please take a moment to support our channel by liking this video and subscribing. Your engagement helps us bring you more in-depth analysis like this. Now, let's get back to the story. The Petrodollar agreement, which has been the cornerstone of Saudi-United States relations since the 1970s, is now coming to an end. Established in 1974, this deal required Saudi Arabia to sell its oil exclusively in dollars and invest surplus revenues in treasury bonds. In exchange, the United States provided military support and economic aid, ensuring the kingdom's security and stability. This agreement not only solidified the dollar's status as the world's primary reserve currency but also ensured that the global energy market operated within a framework that favored American economic interests. However, on June 9, 2024, this half-century-old agreement officially expired. For the first time in decades, Saudi Arabia is free to sell its oil in multiple currencies, including the Chinese yuan, euros, yen, and even digital currencies. This is a monumental shift that could weaken the dollar's dominance, potentially leading to higher inflation and interest rates in the United States, and shaking the very foundations of the global financial system. Saudi Arabia's pivot towards China is more than a financial decision, it's a strategic realignment. In 2023, bilateral trade between China and Saudi Arabia reached staggering levels, with the first quarter alone seeing approximately $24.3 billion in trade. Saudi exports, mainly crude oil, amounted to $13.7 billion, while Chinese imports, largely electronic goods, totaled $10.7 billion. This relationship is not just robust, it's flourishing. By 2024, the trade ties between these two nations had strengthened even further, underscoring a deepening economic interdependence that is reshaping the Middle East's political and economic landscape. Adding another layer to this intricate geopolitical puzzle, China and Saudi Arabia have intensified efforts to reduce their reliance on the United States. Dollar in international trade through a significant currency swap agreement valued at approximately $7 billion. This deal allows the two nations to settle trade transactions using their local currencies, the Chinese yuan and the Saudi riyal, bypassing the dollar entirely. This move is part of a broader strategy known as de-dollarization, aimed at reducing global dependence on the United States dollar, a goal China has been steadily advancing. The symbolism of this agreement is profound. Saudi Arabia, the world's largest oil exporter, aligning more closely with China, the world's largest energy consumer, sends a powerful message to the rest of the world. The era of United States economic dominance, long anchored by the petrodollar system, may be coming to an end, replaced by a new multipolar world where power is more evenly distributed across different regions and economies. But the kingdom's strategic realignment doesn't stop at economic ties. In 2023, Saudi Arabia took a monumental step in reshaping its regional alliances by signing a peace agreement with Iran, brokered by China. This agreement, which surprised many observers, marked a significant shift in the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. For decades, Saudi Arabia and Iran had been locked in a bitter rivalry, often seen as the primary fault line in Middle Eastern politics. The peace deal not only thawed relations between these two regional powers but also signaled Saudi Arabia's willingness to engage in pragmatic diplomacy, distancing itself from a foreign policy solely aligned with United States interests. As we look at Saudi Arabia's position in the Middle East, it becomes clear that the kingdom is navigating a complex and delicate balancing act. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Gaza has put Saudi Arabia in a particularly challenging position. Historically, the kingdom has maintained a cautious approach toward Israel, balancing its close relationship with the United States and its leadership role in the Arab world. But the recent violence in Gaza has forced Saudi Arabia to reconsider its stance, especially in light of its newfound rapprochement with Iran. The kingdom's relationship with Israel, particularly in this volatile context, will be a critical factor in determining the future stability of the region. Saudi Arabia's actions reflect a pragmatic approach to international relations, seeking opportunities wherever they arise and refusing to be constrained by traditional alliances. This is a kingdom that is not only diversifying its economic partnerships but also redefining its role on the global stage. In conclusion, the growing alignment between Saudi Arabia and China, the end of the Petrodollar agreement, and the kingdom's evolving role in Middle Eastern geopolitics are not just isolated events. They are part of a broader, more profound shift in the global order. As Saudi Arabia continues to assert its independence and pursue its national interests, the implications for the United States, China, and the entire world are far-reaching and could redefine the balance of power for years to come. Thank you for watching this video. If our content resonated with you or sparked inspiration, please consider supporting us by liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Your engagement helps us grow and continue to bring you in-depth analysis of the world's most critical developments.
And this amount is 1.5 times China's total foreign direct investment inflow in 2023, highlighting the scale and impact of this massive deal. The PIF, Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, aims to boost two-way capital flows through both debt and equity as a part of its global institutional partnership strategy. While specific uses of the funds have not been detailed, this move signifies a major shift in global financial dynamics. This also follows the successful launch of two exchange-traded funds tracking major Saudi companies on Chinese exchanges.